Alright, so now let's cite a journal article in APA format. And I'm going to be using Microsoft Word for this, and I'm going to be using Microsoft Word's Citation Manager. But I'm going to show you some pitfalls that you can fall into if you use the Citation Manager and just rely on it to format things entirely correctly. First of all, the first thing you need to know is that Microsoft Word uses APA style version 6. And if you're using version 7, then you have to be aware of the differences. Second is that Microsoft Word doesn't understand certain subtleties to APA styling, and actually any type of styling. And so when you're using its citation manager, it's a great start, but it's not going to give you everything you need. So I have my style set to APA, and if you've never done this before, you probably in a Word document, you're on home, you click on references, and then you're going to see insert citation. Before you click on this, this is where we're going to actually enter the information regarding our journal article. You want to make sure your sources and everything is correct. So we have APA, and we won't touch anything else. So I'll click on insert citation. You see I have a test one there. And then I say add new source because this particular document does not have this source in it. And I have on the other side of my screen, I have the actual journal article. So if I go up here, we're going to be citing this article here. And type of source, depending on where you're at, it might start at book or whatever it is. You want to click on here and go to journal article because that's what we're citing as a journal article. And similarly, if it's a book, you click on book and so on. And the first thing you need to notice is that a lot of the things that it suggests that I do aren't everything I need. So I have the author, okay, well that's important. I have the title of the journal article, that's great. The journal name, year, and pages, but it's missing certain things that are important. For example, we don't have the journal's edition number or volume number, and we also don't have the DOI. So I'm going to show you how to get to those at the end of the video. The first thing we're going to do is add in the author, and you'll see how there are so many authors here. We need to be very careful. If I just start typing them in, then what's going to happen is they will not be organized correctly according to APA format in Microsoft Word Citation Editor. So what I'm going to do is the easiest way to do multiple authors is to click on Edit, and then that opens up a whole new thing, and you can start adding in people's names, and then if you want to, you can move them up and down depending on the order. The order of a journal article is important, so this is the first author. It is typically the person who did most of the work, and then as we go down, it becomes less and less work has been done, or this person is the corresponding author, and you can see that they definitely are. This is their email address, and so we need to maintain the order in which the authors are listed. So I'm going to enter them in as we go, and then I'm going to click on Add. And I'm going to enter in every single one of them. Remember, it's last name, first name, and middle name if there is one. There are for a couple of these. So you can speed the video up at this point as you just watch me type in people's names. And this is often the most irritating part of citing because you have to do this for every single journal article. And so this person's does have a middle name. So we're going to add them in. And for the most part, Microsoft Word is very good at handling the names of authors. As long as you follow the appropriate steps, then you're in okay shape. And last author here. Okay, so I have my author list, and watch what happens when I click on OK. First of all, it correctly figures out which is last names and first names, and it's listing them all in order. And you'll see that we have these semicolons here, and that is allowing us to separate the list of authors. Now, if you didn't want to click on Add or Edit, and you didn't want to add them all individually, then you certainly could just add them in. So it's last name, first name, and a semicolon, and that allows you to separate them by author. The title, I'm going to attempt to copy and paste here, and we'll see how well copying and pasting does for me. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You'll see that it only copied the very first one, so I have to type in the rest of it. Now, APA version 7, you have to keep everything lowercase except for proper nouns and the first word of the title. And there are some special cases we'll talk about in different videos when you have multiple titles or maybe you have a subtitle or whatever it is. In this case, we don't, so we're just keeping everything in lowercase. And luckily, this journal article is also everything is in lowercase, so we're going to stick to what they're doing. And so you notice sometimes journal articles get very, very long, but that's okay. We have to write down the entire thing. All right, so now I have my title in there as it appears in the research article. I'm now going to add the journal name. Remember, if you go back and you look at the journal citation video that I put up as well, then you have a journal name. In this case, it is PLOS1. And I can just write that one directly. This is the name of the journal, and this is how it is presented in the journal's actual article. So it is all capitalized because that is how they've presented it to us. The year, remember, it is the year of publication, which is 2021. And now the pages. Well, let's take a look at this particular journal article. What are the pages of the article? And if you take a look down here, it says 1 of 14. And I don't have any additional page number information. It's 2 of 14 and so on. So this is going to be pages 1 to 14. And we're missing a number of things that are important for citations that Microsoft Word did not give me in the default. And the two things we need are the volume number, and in this particular case, we do have it a DOI, so we're going to be adding in the DOI. To access these things, what we're going to do is show all bibliography fields, and this gives us a ton of other things, and it's suggesting that certain things are important. So the authors are important, the title, the name, the year, the pages, and then other things are potentially optional. So if I go down, the volume, because I know it, I should put it in. The volume in this particular case, remember, is 16, and so I'm going to be putting in 16. And the DOI I have as well, which is 10.1371. So I'm going to add that in. And now we have to make a decision. The journal article, its title is +1, but if you take a look at how this is written, the O is lowercase. So in this particular case, I'm going to respect that and make the lowercase o coming in, because that is how the journal article has been shown in its citation, which is something that they want us to represent them as. And so we're going to be putting this in. So if I now say OK, then what happens is that the Microsoft Word correctly cites the appropriate journal article. And so this might come in and we might say in the very beginning of our sentence, according to I can't type today, journal article, and so on, and we have that citation in there. If you want to cite a particular page, you click here, you click on the actual citation itself, and then you click the down arrow, and now it says edit citation. Watch what happens here. The only thing you can edit right now is the pages, and then if you wanted to, for example, suppress the author, you could do that, but that would not be appropriate APA standard, so we're not going to do that. So let's say I'm citing something on page 2, I cite page number 2, and if I say OK, then Word correctly puts in P2. Okay, so we have the citation in there. Now we need the references page. Microsoft Word does a particularly terrible job at making the references page appropriate in APA format. In particular, we have to make sure that we use the correct one, and we have to make sure it's formatted correctly. So let's go ahead and do that. In APA version 7 style, unless your instructor tells you otherwise, it has to be on a new page. So to do that in Microsoft Word, we hit Control and Enter, and now I'm on a new page. And to insert the references itself, so what we had before is called a citation. It's the indication in the text that, hey, this is coming from this source. Then what we're going to do is change this from bibliography. We're going to click on that, and we're going to click on the word that says references. References is the correct thing to use for APA version 7, not bibliography or works cited. So I click on that. And what happens, you'll see in this particular case is giving me a random testing one that I put in. So I can remove this. This is just a table, and I don't like it. Maybe I didn't use it. Maybe something else is happening. So I'm going to remove it, and you can just take it away. And what you're going to see is that it is correctly putting in the last names. We have the first and middle name of this person, and we have the correctly done title. But references here, this actual thing called references must be centered. And so I have to Control E, and that will properly center the title of the references page. And that is how a APA style referencing page should happen. Now, some of you might have an instructor that says this must be called a bibliography or a works cited. Follow what your instructor says, because if you're not doing what the instructor says, then you're going to lose marks, because the instructor is ultimately responsible for their course. But the correct way to do it in APA formatting, if no one says anything, is a references page on a new page with references in the center, and then you're going to have your citations and your references coming in.